Hi, this is Gopal. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to new SaaS, the SoftPOS as a Service webinar. I think we all know SaaS is like a software as a service. That's the acronym. So, but today we call it as a SoftPOS as a service. So, to quickly introduce, I'm Gopal. I will be the moderator for today's session today. So to quickly introduce myself, I work as a director with financial services in Deloitte, based in Malaysia, but work and support my clients in the ASEAN region. And today I've been have three very good gentlemen with me, who you can see on the screen, who Jason Negan, who is the CEO and product architect of Bindo Labs. So Bindo Labs has been serving thousands of merchants worldwide, and with omni-channel POS and payment systems. So Jason is the started Bindo in New York 2011. So he will be sharing his perspectives later. And the second person whom we have on the webinar today is Mr. Pedro. Pedro is the co-founder and managing director of Build38. So he's an avid runner and holds a degree in physics, almost 20 years of experience in telecom, mobile, cybersecurity, and then application security is something very close to his heart. So he will be sharing some perspectives on the security aspects. And then the third person we have on the webinar today is Mr. Angus. He's the director of MineSec, come with around some solid years of experience in payments and securities industries in Asia. So he's the founding member of MineSec. And then he will be sharing his perspectives on what are the implementation challenges during this SoftPOS installation. So just to set the context of today's discussion, I would like to give a perspective of what's happening with respect to payments in the ASEAN market. Let me quickly share my slides. Hope you can all hear and see my screen. So I think as we all are conscious of the fact that payments has been disrupting very heavily in the ASEAN region, because of multiple reasons. The young population in the region is increasing. Many of the population are digital savvy. There is an increasing people with respect to the usage of social media, internet usage. The mobile subscriptions is getting high. The internet penetration, mobile penetration is getting increasing, which we see is a very favorable sign to push things in the digital payments world. So we see in the ASEAN market, comparing many of the countries like the Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore, there is a significant rise in the digital payment user for total adult population. You can see some of the numbers here, the digital payment transaction value. So which is a very clear sign of how all these countries in the region are moving towards a cashless kind of an strategy. We also see a very significant push from all the regulators to move towards accepting digital payments, and how do we acquire some of this cash transaction and bring towards the cashless journey. That's where the context of today on how do we put SoftPOS as one strategy, or how you can convert your mobile devices as an acquiring terminal to convert into payments. So this is getting very interesting in the region. So and based on some of the analysis Deloitte did previously, we see majority of the collaborations we see in the banks in the ASEAN region is mostly coming from the payments kind of an area, which is clearly evident, the push that we are getting for the payments, both on the acquiring side and the issuance side. So, this phenomena has been significantly increased during the latest pandemic. So there was an interesting sentence I was reading last time, like, never let a good pandemic or a bad pandemic to go waste. So maybe in the digital payments world where we are today, I think because of this pandemic, there was a significant rise in the usage of digital payments. And then many of the banks we see in the region and globally, they've increased their contactless payments. Many of them try to digitize the whole processes. And so some of the merchants, the SME and MSME, they're also moving towards accepting digital payments and all. Although we see there is a significant push happening, but there are some fundamental challenges. Like many of the merchants and the retailers, they're still worried about the security challenges that are currently available, and security challenges that are associated. And then there is a constant pressure on the MDR and the interchange, and their ever-changing regulatory compliance, which they have to adhere to. And then the cost of owning terminals is quite high. And then if someone wants to embark on this new ways of SoftPOS and all, there are still some implementation challenges and all. So I mean, today, with that context, I would like to set the stage today to see what are all the various ways we can look at in developing these things. And then in the format of our webinar will go like this. In the next 45 minutes, we'll have our three gentlemen. They will share around 15 minutes kind of a time on various aspects. So first, I would like to start with Mr. Jason. To give us a perspective on what are the key considerations, or what is the way of success in the SoftPOS business in the current scenario. Jason?
Yes, thanks, Gopal. Thanks. Yeah, so quick introduction. My name is Jason, and I am one of the founder of Bindo Labs. So I'm gonna go over the slide and give you guys a quick introduction of what we do. So we were started in 2010 in New York, and currently we have our Asia headquarters in Hong Kong right now. We currently have about 100 people in a little bit over 100 people worldwide, and about 100 people here in Hong Kong and also in Shenzhen, so supporting the entire Asian market. We focus on not just SoftPOS or payment, but we also focus on the point of sale system for retail, F&B, and also hotel. We have certification with like some of the proprietary system, like say Operas and hotel system, other PMS systems, so that we can easily bring SoftPOS solution and also payment solution into different kind of like interesting verticals, like and even into beauty chains and also retail chains, and with full integration with ERP system. Yeah, so these are some of the category that we support. Other than restaurants and quick serve restaurant, we also support wine, liquor shop, clothing stores, and convenience stores, and pretty much like any kind of like retail shops. So these are some of the major. These four quadrants represent are the major product that we focus on. POS and also order, and also OMS, order management system, is essentially the point of sale system for retail and also restaurants. OMS is the order management system connecting the restaurants, for example, like to Foodpanda, Deliveroo, and also Uber Eats and Grab, allowing them to receive the orders and get the orders into their kitchen. Mobile ordering is also one of our major focus, and it's growing rapidly because of COVID, so allowing the customers to place an order on their mobile app or on their mobile phone. And then the other one is on the top right corner is a procurement system. This is like B2B payment. So we allow customers to be able to go on to a B2B platform and then to order from their suppliers, make electronic payments through credit card or through other payment method. We also support we also have an omni-channel payment gateway. We support e-commerce, also mobile commerce transactions. We also support a lot of EMV compliance payment terminals. For example, like the PAX terminal, Landy terminals, like various kind of like payment terminals. So this is like a high level of what we do. We have the point of sale system that will live on like a tablet. It could be an iPad or it could be an Android. We also have kiosks. We also have table management system, pickup display. On the left hand side is mostly some of the product that we can deliver, and on the right hand side, these are the other system that we integrate to. For example, the Oracle ERP system, SAP, Salesforce, QuickBooks, Xero, Shopify, like all kind of like different platform. So this is like an example of our retail and also restaurant point of sale system. On the left-hand side, you can see all the current order. On the right-hand side is just the menu. And the point of sale system is also fully integrated with a traditional terminal. And also for the SoftPOS case, the point of sale system can also live on a tablet or on a Android phone, so it can accept payment at the same time. So we also have like cash and also shift management, inventory management, multi-location. So essentially the chain owners, they would be able to oversee all their sales and also payment acceptance like across the entire chain, across like different regions, and see different analytics. Yeah, so this is like some of our traditional product. We're coming from a background doing a lot of EMV certification for the banks, for example, like say, and also for telcos as well. So these are some of the so this is like the omni-channel payment gateway that we have. On the left-hand side is just the e-commerce, an example of like a e-commerce website. In the middle, that is like a mobile app accepting like different kind of payment, including credit card, Alipay, WeChat Pay, and in the case of Hong Kong, it could be OctoPOS or like some other mobile wallet as well. On the right-hand side, it would be a traditional terminals, accepting like different kind of payment, like Alipay, WeChat Pay, and also all the credit card like Visa, MasterCard, JCB, American Express, so and also OctoPOS. So in the case of SoftPOS, we are bringing the capability to everything to a Android phone that would be a lot easier to for the shopkeepers and also the cashier to handle, easier for them to be able to basically we are bringing the Apple Store experience even more seamless to like all kind of like shops across retail and also restaurants. So we have been supporting like different like payment terminal in the past. However, we have been receiving a lot of requests asking for more agile solutions. So SoftPOS is a really good opportunity to come in place. We will be able to roll out SoftPOS to like hundreds, if not thousands of like clients asking for more agile solutions. Yeah, so these are some of the solutions that we can support in Hong Kong, in Asia, and also in the US. The other interesting thing is that we are also going to be supporting supporting gift card and also prepaid card for SoftPOS as well. These are some of the projects that we are already working on, allowing gift card to be like NFC gift card to be accepted like on traditional POS, and now we will be able to bring the acceptance to even SoftPOS. Yeah, so this is like an example of like a SoftPOS solution in one of our Hong Kong customers' office. So they would be able to either enter the amount, or with the ECI integration, they can basically just select the item that they want to check out, or use barcode scanner to scan the item that they want to check out, and then they complete the entire transactions. Yep. So next. So currently we already have certification for a lot of our terminals for for traditional POS, and we are working on the full acceptance for SoftPOS as well, along with MineSec. And then the other interesting thing that that you can see right now is that on the SoftPOS that I showed you earlier, we'll also be accepting, allowing the restaurants owners, restaurants operator, cashiers to place an orders and like through the mobile app, and then they can basically choose everything on the menu. They would be able to go through the entire checkout process and also make the payment on the same device. The SoftPOS will also with like full integration with our traditional POS with our inventory system. So this is one of the major differentiation from any other SoftPOS or payment terminal out there, because it's like without the integration, it's still a little bit like a traditional POS, but with the integration, it substantially improved the capability of like bringing like business logics like inventory, like cut CRM into the SoftPOS. Yeah, so this is our team, and if you guys have any question later on, can ask here, or feel free to reach out to me later on. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, Jason, for sharing some of the use cases you're working on and the clients you're supporting. So thanks all the participants for the good questions that are coming up. So I'd like to ask the question to the relevant panelists today, but I would like to go through one round of the presentations from everyone, and then I'll take up the questions. But please feel free to get more questions into the chat. So just moving on to take to the next level of the webinar, I think one of the key aspect, I think we all see the digital payments are increasing. The innovation is on, we have to manage the innovation on one hand, and at the same time, we need to be managing the risk element on the other hand. So there is a growing concern in the region and globally with respect to the security challenges of SoftPOS. So maybe I get Mr. Pedro to walk us on some of the challenges in the SoftPOS system and to share some of his perspectives. Pedro.
Thank you very much, Gopal, for the introduction, and thank you everyone for joining today for this webinar. Hope you find everything that we say interesting, and as Jason and Gopal mentioned, happy to take your questions at the end. So from my side, I'm Pedro Hernandez. As you can see by the background, I work for Build38. At Build38, basically what we do, we enable innovative use cases to be deployed that have a mobile application as one of the key elements. And we do that focusing on the security. So we make sure that a mobile application with all the assets that go into that, as well as the web service that it is connecting to, is safe and secure and free from fraud. So particularly on SoftPOS today, I wanted to talk to you about the security challenges, as mentioned in the title. So to give it a bit more of a structure, I basically will cover 3 dimensions of the security challenges and the security points that have to be addressed. So the first one is what we call the regulatory aspects or regulatory dimension. That, as you know, in SoftPOS, because of the acceptance of the contactless payments that is an industry already established, there are several, we can call them regulators or companies that establish guidelines and requirements from the security standpoint. And here we are talking about, for instance, PCI as an organization. We talk about the schemes, the payment schemes that are basically sponsoring the corresponding networks of payment. And that's one of the key elements, and probably the first one that one realizes when tries to do a launch of a SoftPOS, right? Because you have this list of requirements that you have to meet, and most of them are security features that have to be integrated in a solution, and that's very, very key. So I will talk about that one, but I would like as well to add these 2 other dimensions that you see. One of them is the life cycle. And when we talk about the life cycle, it's not only the life cycle of the user or the device, but as well the entire system and the entire service, and how this is going to be as well a challenge from the security perspective. And the third dimension is the reach, because basically we are all here for the business. So we want to launch a SoftPOS solution that is able to run on as many customer phones as possible. And that comes with associated challenges, security standpoint, that the more phones and the more devices that you want to support, the more difficult or more complex that it becomes. So let's get into it. So for the regulatory aspects, I'm going to use an analogy to talk about the three major groups of capabilities or features that have to be implemented. So here you see that we talk about protection, we talk about diversification and renewability. To use a easy analogy, let's think about an apartment building that has, I don't know, 30 apartments in the same building. So the protection basically would consist on putting a lock on every door of this apartment building. That's something that probably is very reasonable for everyone. And with that, what we achieve is basically a burglar or someone that wants to get something from inside the apartments have to overcome this protection, right? The third area is the diversification. And here, in this analogy, would be to put a lock with a different key on each of these of the doors of the apartment. So you don't have one key that opens all the doors, but basically you have a diversified a set of keys that open each of the doors. So if an attacker gains access to one of the keys, can open one apartment, but if they want to open another apartment, they have to start from the origin to do the attack or the break-in in the apartment. And the third one is the renewability. And again, in this analogy, would be changing the keys every month or every time that a tenant leaves to install a new lock. Because with that, you make sure that if the key is compromised at some moment of time, because I've been a resident in this apartment building, I cannot come back 2 years down the road and try to open the door with the same key and it works. So basically we are resetting the security from this perspective. So when we bring this analogy to the SoftPOS area, or actually any kind of critical business that has a critical application, mobile application, we're talking about several sets of features that actually are covered as well in the specifications that we mentioned about PCI, about the schemes. So on the one side, from the protection side, we are talking about things like routine detection, like emulator detection or debugging detection that prevent that someone that wants to break the system, wants to break the SoftPOS solution, is able to do some dynamic analysis of the application. How is it working? What is the logic implemented? Which are the flow that is used to perform a payment, and so on. Then we have some others like PIN entry protection or secure PIN entry that prevent that someone is installing some malware to collect the PIN codes on corresponding to each of the credit cards that are presented. We have as well mechanisms like anti-repackaging or anti-tampering that you cannot modify the mobile application and publish, for instance, a malicious version of the application that is doing credit card numbers collection, for instance. So these are the protection area, and here I'm listing 9 of them. On the PCI or any of the specifications, you can see that there are many more of them. I think in our solution, we have 20 plus that correspond to this category. And these are very critical because it's what increases the barrier of entry for any attacker or any fraudster in order to break the system. The second area is basically the diversification. And here what we are talking about is mainly the different logs perspective. So we are using personalization of each of the applications out there from each user that has different keys. That means that if I'm able to break a mobile application that is installed on a mobile phone, I cannot directly use this information to break the mobile application that is installed in a different phone. Same wise, I'm not able, through these device binding capabilities, I'm not able to install some malware that can collect the information that is in the phone of a specific user. I bring it to my phone, I send it to my phone, and then I basically run the same transactions from a different device. These capabilities again are as well a requirement from the perspective of the regulators, and have to be there. And the final one is related to the renewability. And here we are talking about is basically making sure that the keys, the credentials, the tokens, everything that is necessary for performing a transaction is renewed and is not lasting forever. So that introduces as well some requirements from the perspective of managing all this information and all this key material, including, for instance, if you are familiar with the PCI specs, the attestation capabilities and the attestation server. Okay. So of course, you can imagine that implementing all these has its challenges, and it's definitely something that cannot be done overnight, and requires as well a continuous update, because, as you know, these new features, these new capabilities and protections are necessary from the point of view that every day everyone is investing in new security attacks. So the second dimension that I wanted to talk is the life cycle from a challenge perspective. And here is what I already introduced, is if you look at a system, a service, a mobile SoftPOS service, you have to take into account that it's going to last for several years, or at least months for sure. And if you look at the rate of new vulnerabilities being found out there, you can realize that if 2 vulnerabilities, for instance, of these CVEs type of vulnerabilities are found every hour, you need a very strong researcher and developer team that is looking into this and making sure that everything is protected continuously. So that's definitely a very big challenge, because, as you may know, cybersecurity savvy resources are scarce, and you have to invest in having them and of course retaining them. From the lifecycle perspective of the device and the user as well, there are some that are covered in the requirements of the security specifications and the regulators, but of course we can always go one step beyond. So what we try to show with this wheel is basically that of course you have to protect the assets, you have to protect the mobile application, but nothing wrong is happening. You have to make sure that it's secure today when you issue the application and you install on the user phone. But then you have to be able as well to detect that something is going wrong. So you install today the application in a device that is not rooted, but then 2 weeks down the road, the device is rooted. So you would be willing to have a way to be alerted that this is happening. And not only that, but even react to that fact that something is going wrong or something fishy is happening, so you can moderate the service level based on that. And of course, the holy grail is even reaching the level of prediction. So basically, even before something wrong happens, that you are able to see that that's the case. To end with these 3 dimensions, the last one is about the reach. So how we cover as many users as possible. And I like especially this picture because even though it's a bit old, shows very clearly that in the Android space, the number of brands of phone models out there is staggering. So it's really, really complex to manage. And you can imagine that not only you have to make that your SoftPOS application or your application is running perfectly on all these devices, you have to make sure that the application is secure in all these devices. And that's a completely different approach than the usual release testing that you would have for a mobile application, just to make sure that it runs on every device. And then, of course, you can think that one way to overcome that is to limit, let's say, to the last 2 years OS versions, Android OS versions, the installability and the enablement of the mobile application. But if you look at this example, for instance, from 2020, if you could do that and only restrict your application to run on phones that are 2 years old, that would only give you 40% of the reach on Android devices out there. And that's a global figure. So you can imagine that, as Gopal introduced it earlier, in a place like Southeast Asia or Asia in general, where you have even more diversity of devices and stuff, that could become even more challenging. So yes, as a summary, 3 takeaways to to keep clear what we are talking about. First one is time is literally money. So all these things that we are talking about, all these challenges take time to implement and to maintain. So, and as you know, when you want to meet all the requirements from the regulators, you have to go through a security analysis, you have to get a first certification, and that's an iterative process. So if something is wrong is found, then you have to go back to development, then you submit again, and every day that you are not launching your application, you're basically losing the money that you would be making from the service being available. Second one is security is an arms race. So something that is secure today will not be secure in 6 months. So you have to continuously invest resources on that. And to end with is the complexity that comes with the reach. So the more users, the scalability of your solution will depend a lot on how secure you can make the solution on the devices that are not the latest ones or the let's say top tier of the devices. So yes, if some self-promotion to end with from my side, of course, if you face these challenges, it's better not to do it alone. So from our side, from Build38, as we've done with our partners here, happy to cooperate and help you in this journey. Gopal, back to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Pedro, for giving the insights on the security aspects. Definitely cannot be ignored. So moving on to the next part of the conversation, I think we are doing good on time. So so far, you have heard what are the key success or considerations required for SoftPOS business. We heard about the security challenges. Now I would like to request Mr. Angus, if someone wants to go on an implementation of a SoftPOS solution, what are some of the hurdles they need to be aware and how you can mitigate some of this? Angus, can you share your insights and thoughts there?
Yes, thanks. Thanks, Gopal, and thanks, Jason and Pedro, for the presentation. So in this session, I will try to talk about the challenges and also how to get over the hurdles in a SoftPOS implementation. Okay, so I think before talking about all the challenges, I try to understand actually why we need SoftPOS. Actually, SoftPOS is aligning the development of the payment ecosystem. I believe most of you attending the webinar actually are coming from the payment industry. In the last like 5 years or even 10 years, we have been seeing the changes in the payment ecosystem. We want everything now cashless. I believe all of you right now are not using any cash anymore. Contactless payment transaction, we don't want to touch anything. And also in this COVID-19 situation, and then everyone is now trying to rely more on a mobile phone, higher mobility because of a lifestyle. And I believe a lot of people may be using their mobile phone to attend the webinar today as well. And this is the reason why there are a lot of payment applications for the finance, banking, POS, because in the payment ecosystem, in the POS system, we are trying to move from the hardware solution to software solution. We don't want any extra hardware anymore. And because of this, as Pedro mentioned, payment security, cyber security is the main concern as for today. And all these 5 factors are actually the driving force that the implementation for the SoftPOS solutions and SoftPOS systems, okay? Before talking about the challenges, here I just provide you a very high level overview. I mean, because SoftPOS is actually in demand, that's why the CAS team working together with PCI to introduce a program for SoftPOS, we call CPOC. Here you can see the high-level functional model of a CPOS solutions. So there are 4 components. 2 components are there already. Like the first one is the consumer device, which is actually your payment card, your contact card, or your mobile phone for Apple Pay, Google Pay. This is there already. Another is the transaction authorization system. That is a typically payment gateway acquirer got nothing to change to use it with SoftPOS. And then for the SoftPOS, the newly introduced component is the what I highlight in red is the cost. Cost is a commercially off-the-shelf device. It basically is an Android device with NFC enabled function and then a CPOS application running on it. And the CPOC application is like a payment application, payment POS application with all the security protection maybe roughly mentioned by Petro previously. And also there's an extra component is a backend system. It's also defined by PCI that you need to have the attestation and monitoring server. So you can see there are all two key components that you will need to develop to deploy a SoftPOS solutions. So let's go talk about the challenges. In terms of the challenges of a SoftPOS implementation, typically I can define there are three areas. The first is about the technology challenges. I think you heard from Pedro a lot about the security. You heard about a lot from Jason, how to come up with everything bundled together. So here you can see a very high-level board diagram for what a cost platform should have. You can see there's a lot of jargon, a lot of elements, components talking about the security. You have the software protection, key management, context kernel. Typically, to understand to develop a SoftPOS, you need to understand technologies in three areas. First of all, for the context kernel, how can you develop a secure and modular context kernel and application for your existing software application and the future application? All this, you need to understand the functional requirements, security requirement. You understand security requirement, then you need to protect this one. How to protect this? You need to have up-to-date internet protection, like cryptography, crypto encryption key, authentication, attestation that you need to have in your in your device application, software application. What I mean is, and also as requested by PCI, you need to have real-time security monitoring, which is attestation and monitoring servers. So actually, all these technologies, you have to understand the requirement, you have to understand from the functional requirement, security requirement, then to develop your software solutions. Let's say you understand all the technologies already. Now you move to the next step is the implementation. Then implementation bring along with you and the challenges. Development. You know the technologies, you know the requirement. But how can you develop and integrate all the technologies together to come a solution combining with the functional and the security requirement? That is the challenges you have to tackle. Another one is, okay, there is a security requirement, how to track the balance between the performance and the security function, how to find the right security combination for your software solutions is also another challenge for you. You develop yourself, how to develop, you buy or whatever, that is another security competency challenge you have to tackle. And then finally, the quality software in the front end and the back end have a good performance up to the standard software solutions. So all these the challenges you have to take care and tackle during the development phases to launch a very good software solutions. And then the other challenge before you launch a product, that is about certification. Maybe not of you have experience in certification. So as I mentioned before, right now software is governed by PCI. So you need to go through the PCI CPOC US certification to have your software launch to the market. So in the certification, after you develop the product, you have to understand what are the requirements, what are the duration requirements, what are certificate requirements, how to deal with the laboratories, what are the materials they're looking at, such as solution maintenance. It covers about the procedure, procurement, maintenance, everything. And on top of security, also there's some other certification like contactless level 2, Visa, MasterCard. So all these certification also is something outside of development. And you have to think about how to get your product certified. So this is challenge you have to think about during the implementation. So let's say you have the technology, you understand already. Let's say you implement already, you get certification already. And the next challenge is operations. I mean, on the ongoing challenge, ongoing operation, because right now maybe you start your support like different scheme like Visa, MasterCard, but later on you want to add more card scheme. So how to add more card scheme, more context kernel, there is a challenges. And the cyber security keep changing every day, the attack. There may be some vulnerability found from day to day or whatever periodically. How can you do the patching for the vulnerabilities? And the widespread crypto security function update, how to keep up to date to the relevant technologies in terms of the payment, in terms of security. There is also constant challenges that you have to face during the operation. Of course, there's some challenges related to maintenance, like particularly like something like how to maintain a secure key, encryption key update, device listing, add the device, remove the device, create the license management, and maintain certifications. Let's say you want to add some functions, add some features to the existing SoftPOS solution. How can you do the certification? Do you need to do the PCI again, or to do the Delta again, or whatever? So all these are challenges you have to think about during the operation. Okay. So with all these challenges, I will go and talk about some methodology or the approach people are trying to tackle the challenges. Typically, people will be thinking of a two-way to tackle the challenge or to support the implementation of the SoftPOS. I call it like a build and buy, build or buy solution. For build is in-house. You can in-house is very straightforward that you deploy your internal resources. You build your own team to develop the SoftPOS solution from scratch. You learn all the standard. I mean, the benefits for the in-house soft implementation that of course you own your own IP. You have full control of the business model and also full control of the product roadmap. You know what we need to do next. But there are some considerations you have to think about because you need to learn the technologies in the payment functional, EMV, PCI, and then security. That you take longer time to the market. And then your existing development team or R&D team may not be good for the SoftPOS. You may need to invest the heavy team on R&D and technologies. There's some consideration, and the ongoing support, maintenance support, temperature update, just think about. And of course, the full certification, because you're doing everything from yourself, that you need to think about go through all the like PCI, EMV, level 2, scheme certification. And all this can lead to business risk. SoftPOS is something new, but promising. But if you want to do something from the beginning by yourself, that the initial investment could be huge. Another opposite extreme is I call it buy, like a full solution acquisition. It means you just buy like a off-the-shelf certified SoftPOS solution. You just like do simple integration. Just say use the SoftPOS solution from others, become your solutions. The benefits obviously is quick time to market, short term low business risk because you don't need to invest anything, and certification you just rely on the certificate they have. But the consideration for this full solution acquisition or buy solution is you need to 100% rely on your provider. You cannot control your roadmap. You cannot control what they're going to do. The scalability, sustainability, expandability you have to think about. And you may need to share some business information to them because in a full certified CPOC solutions, payment gateway could be into scope. It means that there may be something sitting in between you and your customers. That means you need to share some information to them. Maybe some are sensitive. That could lead to a midterm high business risk. So this is something two extreme case between buy and build in-house and full solution acquisition. And here actually MineSec is introducing something in between. It's a white label SDK solution. It's something between buy and build. The benefits of the white label solution is you can make use of pre-certified or pre-evaluated components in the SDK to develop your own SoftPOS solutions. So what you can do is you just focus on your own business model, business logic, and the high flexibility in-house development. You just deploy your existing team to make use of SDK provided by the white label solutions to do the API. So you can also capture the market quickly, fast deployment because they just provide the API. You just use the API to your development. It's a faster ROI and music scale your cost to the revenue. And the one benefit that is that you still keep your own brand, means the solution is leader at your own solutions as you develop everything by yourself. And for consideration, of course, this one is you need to collaborate with a trusted technology partner They have a clear roadmap, what are going to do next, what are the payment channels they're going to add, and in terms of technology, what kind of function they're going to support. That you have to think about. And you still need to go, because it's still listed at your solutions. There's some lightweighted certification process like PCI. The reason I call it lightweighted because the SDK components, the white label components, the components and functional or security, they are pre-certified, evaluated. So the lab can we use some result for your own certification. So it can help you faster to the market. So the third way is something between buy and build. It's a white label solution may be good for your consideration to develop your own solutions. Here just some use case from the customers, from some partners. By using the SDK, you can see the results shortly just in 5 days. So what you need to do is just to download the SDK to access the API document. We provide you some sample source code. Then you can quickly do the integration seamlessly with the existing kit UI and also coexisting with some other payment method. You can provide a first-person demonstration to your customer already. And then after the customer will have your demo, then you want have a really committed to develop your SoftPOS, make it roll out. Typically 6 months, you can have it ready because you're leveraging the SDK functional security requirement. You don't care about this one. You just focus on your business logic development, level 3 application development, and you just leverage your certification kit from MineSec. We use the result, and this can help you reduce your planning and investment risk because you have clear roadmap certification when you go for certification where you can launch, pay as you grow, and of course, we support the future payment kernel update and the territory update. So this is the typical use case for rollout, like take around 6 months that you can launch your solution already by white label solution. So how can we achieve? Because MineSec is we consider MineSec is a business enabler. We enable our customer to develop their software solution to create quicker revenue and profits by their acceptance solution via SoftPOS. How can we achieve with MineSec white label SoftPOS solution? You can develop a SoftPOS still under your own brand. You just control your business logic. After the setup, pace as you grow, and then you can just integrate in weeks. We provide a high performance security and protection SDK application server, and the solution actually ready for the PCI certification. So this is something we bring the values to the software solution provider who want to launch their own solutions. Here we just provide very high level broad diagram of a MineSec white label solution. You can see how can we achieve that. So from the front end side, our SDK called MyHades that come with the payment kernel like Visa, MasterCard, and with the security function requested by the PCI already. So that's why which is CPOC ready SDK engine. We have a EMV, security API, key management API, binding security protection, and we provide the API for the customer to develop the CPOC application, software application with 100% aligning with the business logic. And from the backend side, with the MineSuite is the backend testing server. It already complied with the PCI DSS requirement with HSM monitoring and also the API for your implementation. So you can see there in this model, we don't really touch your transaction data. It means your business is still your business. We don't really touch your transaction. We don't touch your customer information. And this is the beauty of a white label solution instead of a full solution acquisition. So in summary, MineSec can help you your software development in 4 areas. Integrate off-the-shelf SDK, API, demo code. You can integrate in a week. Monitoring, we have real-time monitoring check with the backend server, everything to monitoring the software solutions. Hardening, we provide the security protection up to the industry requirement for the software protection, and of course the management, lifecycle management, white bad listing, encryption key enrollment, something like that. So this is what I want to share about the implementation challenges and how to handle by the white label solution. Okay, thanks, go back.
Thanks, Angus, for sharing the insights on how do we approach some of the implementation challenges of SoftPOS. So before I move on to some of the questions to other panel members, maybe one question I see keep coming, which is mostly related on the PIN. So maybe you can give us some insights like, is there any standard for SoftPOS solution with PIN entry? And how do you work with, how do you work in any offline PIN regions? Response for that?
That is a very good question. So you can see from my presentation, right now, PCI launched the SoftPOS solution is without PIN entry. So for every SoftPOS solution without PIN entry, you can just go for the PCI certification and all the card scheme will recognize. But there is demand, like some region or some use case, they will need the PIN entry. So for the SoftPOS, PIN entry is an optional configuration, but for PIN entry right now is still under different pilot scheme for different card scheme. Let's say Visa, they have the tap to phone plus PIN program. MasterCard also have that one as well. So if the solution want to support PIN, they will need to talk to the scheme separately to join the program as a pilot. That is to support PIN for the SoftPOS. Having said that, actually PCI is actually in the process upgrading the CPOC solutions or upgrading the CPOC standard to support PIN. So PCI have the roadmap already. Sooner or later, maybe soonest this by end of this year or early next year, the program will be upgraded to support PIN as well. So at that time, there will be CPOC. I don't know what exactly the name is. At that time, there was the PCI CPOC plus PIN program governed by the PCI. It means a SoftPOS can also support the PIN entry already. Okay.
Thanks, Angus. Maybe I move to Mr. Pedro. I think this question is quite relevant to you. So there was a question which talked about, have you used a white box or TE for security? What are some of the challenges you face with key management? In fact, personally, key management is something which I'm really scared of. Maybe you can share some insights on how do you manage these challenges with key management, please.
Thank you. That's definitely a very good question, and especially that's the challenge when you are trying to make your application, your SoftPOS app to run on as many devices as possible, because some of them will have some of these hardware security measures like TE or even secure element based stronghold, this type of capabilities, but some others may not have them. And one of the ways that we enable this possibility is through managing this underlying complexity to make the life of the developer and the operator of the application easier. So we particularly in our case, we have the feature that we call Silicon Vault, that basically decides once you install the application on the device, decides which is the highest security mechanism to store the keys and to match all the sensitive data. And based on this decision, stores it in the most secure area. And we go back to these three strategies to protect. So the moment that you have higher protection, then you can relax a little bit the renewability. So you don't have to renew the keys as frequently if you have a more strong area to store the keys. While if you have a less secure area, like for instance, white box, as you mentioned, probably you would have a strategy that you are increasing the renewability. So the expiry dates of the certificates are shorter, and the keys have to be renewed more frequently. So that's precisely all this complexity that comes with the key management that you are mentioning, that you are scared, because it's very critical and it's essential that is addressed in the right way, because if not, the possibilities of compromise can be very high.
Okay, thanks. I think there is a follow-up. I think it could be relevant to you as well. There is a question which asks about how much of a limitation is SoftPOS being Android only to your business? Will this hinder growth? Or do we need to support devices that are supported by Google 8.1 and above? Any insights there, Pedro?
I mean, from my side, just to mention that in principle, from the security standpoint, you have no limitation on supporting iOS or Android, but then you have the constraints with regards to the NFC interface. So as I said, even though from the security standpoint there shouldn't be any issue, I think it's more an issue on the capabilities for the contactless reading of the device, the contactless card or the contactless OEM Pay. I don't know, Angus, if you have any insights on that one, which is the impact from.
Yes, I think for this one, I can add a bit. So right now, actually, you're right. Actually, for the PCI requirement support is actually for Android only. It's not supporting the iOS because the iOS, the NFC device is not open for the reading device. So right now it's only for the Android device for the SoftPOS. And regarding the version, typically it has to be version 8 or above for the Android.
Okay. Thanks, both of you. Like one of our panelists has to drop off because of some technical issues. So all the questions with respect to Jason, we will take with him offline. Then we will try to circulate the responses. I think, Angus, there could be another question which you might give your views. So there was a question which talk of what is the future of CPOC and SPOC? Will either win out in the end or just coexist for a very long time? So any views there, Angus?
You mean the SoftPOS and which one? And SPOC?
Yeah.
SPOC is SPOC, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So actually, SPOC. Again, I may be 100% correct. So SPOC is, you can consider, is the first version of SoftPOS, but actually it's only purely for the pin entry only. So it means you still need to use a contactless reader. The contactless reader will come with the contactless payment kernel, and you just use the mobile phone as a pin entry device. Okay, so this is the first version of SoftPOS, but not exactly, to me, it's not exactly SoftPOS because you still need to use the MPOS. As I mentioned, if for some application, if you really want to make use of a mobile phone for the pin entry, right now, PCI has no such program. So it means you may still need to go for SPOC, working together with the MPOS and also with your mobile phone for the pin entry function. But as I mentioned just now, and some customer ask, in the future, the CPOC will be upgraded to support pin as well. So at that time, a single mobile phone can perform the card reading function, transaction function, and also the software pin entry already. So at that time, I cannot say 100% can be replaced, but I could say the use case of the CPOC plus pin could be much wider than the SPOC application. This is what I see, and this is talk about the history of MineSec. MineSec also aware there's SPOC solutions, but from our we believe CPOC CPOC could be the future with pin. So that's why we go directly to the purely software solutions instead of working with dongle and also just use the device as a pin entry. This is what I see the business, what I see the trend. Okay.
Thanks. I think as per my watch, we have 1 last minute left. So maybe Angus, you can quickly answer. There was a question which talked about if the acquirer bank third party wants to implement SoftPOS solution backend module at their data center, is there any requirement for their installation environment? So you can answer this very quick. If it's a lengthy answer, maybe you can answer the person offline.
I mean, typically they got nothing. If talking about the acquirers, that actually for them to support the SoftPOS, typically there's nothing change as what they're doing right now. Okay, of course, the SoftPOS provider will need to integrate with their backend system, but typically there's not much change for what they're doing with their post right now. So it's easier for the acquirer to adopt the SoftPOS. But of course, there's some process will remain there. Let's say level 3 certification, something like that, will be remain there. But in terms of upgrade of system development, actually there's nothing much that they're quietly to do.
I see. So thanks for that. I think we are almost there. Maybe on a concluding note, maybe Pedro, I'll give the last chance. Any concluding note on the future you see for SoftPOS solutions in the region? Less than 1 minute time you have.
Yeah, definitely. It's in such a dynamic region as Asia, particularly, it's going to enable the acceptance of contactless payments even in more places. And that's basic for the scalability of the acceptance and the acquiring business. So I'm pretty sure that there is a very successful and a big potential for all these in the future. And working with partners like MineSec and Build38 is making it easy to go faster and with a best return of investment into this market.
Okay, thanks. So I wish all the best for all three of you. And thanks the audience for the good questions that are coming up. We will try to, apologize if we couldn't manage to answer all the questions, but we will try to provide offline. Thanks once again, all the panelists for giving your views. And then we will be sharing some of the slides after doing some quick sanitation. Thanks and have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.